Hello, everyone. You see the jersey, you already know what time it is, all right? MTL Sports Podcast, episode 44. We're getting pretty close to the big 50, so stay tuned for plans with that. But anyway, we're going to recap some NFL Week 5 action. We still got a game tonight, so we may or may not go over that. Probably not, but other than that, we have some NBA action. NBA preseason has started, so of course we will also preview the NBA just like we did the NFL. We will go 2 divisions at a time. So for tonight, we have the Southeast and we have the Southwest divisions. One Eastern Conference, one Western Conference. So we'll break it down for you, and then we'll get up out of here. So with no further ado, let's get to it. Action here. NFL Week 5, like I said, there's still one game tonight, but we'll probably cover that on Wednesday. So other than that, we'll cover Thursday night's game, the debacle of that game, and then also the Sunday games. So Lawrence, 2-minute offense time. Let us know what you think about Week 5 action, the games you might or might not have watched.
All right, so quick rundown of the games I did not watch. I can't lie, I didn't watch anything after the second quarter in the Washington versus Bears game. I did chime in late in the game to watch them miss a field goal and pretty much killed all momentum. It's hard to say, like, oh, dude, the Bears were due for a win, because in reality, it never felt like they were going to be due for a win because they just hadn't performed in any game. I think it's just, I think it's just poetic justice that they just find a way against the Commanders, who I think they just laid a lot on the line and just laid it all out last week against the Eagles. And they couldn't get over the fact that they just didn't close out that game the correct way. The Bears, however, I don't even know what they're going to do with their running back room. So, good luck to the Bears. Dante Foreman is still on that team. As last year as a Panther, he did amazing. So, hopefully they can utilize him because they don't have any other running backs. Moving on to other games I did not watch, but we'll talk briefly on. Carolina is the biggest piece of dog crap. No more to get in that. Lions are for real. They don't play with their food. They just chew it up and spit it out. Saints, what can I say? I think maybe it's time for Bill Belichick to give up GM and focus more on coaching. 2 weeks in a row now, like, his team has looked horrible. I think it's time to give Mac Jones a break. See what else you got. Like I said, Malik Cunningham. I know he's still floating around that old roster on the practice squad at one point. So I'm telling you, Malik Cunningham is not a bad gig. Give him a shot. Maybe give Bailey Zappi a shot. Whatever you have to do, you just cannot keep the path that you're on.
Nah.
Defense plays well just for nothing. Doesn't matter. Oddly, I did not watch much of this game. I watched a little of this game. Ravens in Pittsburgh. It was just really a boring defensive fest that I just couldn't find enjoyment watching. I also had to keep going back to regular TV instead of being on YouTube TV.
Yeah, that was annoying.
It was just a little much, especially for a game that was never having anything happen. Watching the highlights, though, Lamar needs some help.
I thought he had help. I thought they gave him everything he needed, right?
I don't know what you want from him. He's putting the ball on people's. He's giving Odell Beckham Jr. drop balls, Duvernay drop balls, even my boy Zay Flower drop balls. They're putting on their fingertips. They're not even hard catches. They're routine catches. Yep. They just can't do it. And that's sad, but maybe that's why Lamar has to run every other time, because he can't trust anyone. Bengals Cardinals, when we watched a little bit of that. This is what everyone thought. The Cardinals were horrible, but at least the Cardinals can perform and actually stay in games. They can make things look enticing up until maybe sometimes the end of games. But regardless, Joe Burrow needed a bounce back week. So did the Bengals overall, but the Cardinals were a good punching bag for the week. But don't get it fooled. The Cardinals had them scared for a little bit. So Cardinals don't know how to die, but that's a good thing. And then last game I didn't really watch. Cowboys and 49ers. Wait, who am I kidding? I did watch all that game, and it was amazing. Notice there's one Cowboy salesman at work today who did not show up. Couldn't face the music.
Couldn't face it.
I'm 0-5, and I still show up. So maybe you don't be a little bitch. Dak Prescott looked like Dak Prescott, and the 49ers look like the 49ers. 49ers are on a mission to find the Eagles at some point this season.
Yep.
And I just think the 49ers are going to murder them. I think there's more one-sided hatred than on the other side. I don't think the Eagles have like as much disdain and like beef with them.
Animosity, yeah.
Animosity is the perfect word. Couldn't think of it. But there's the perfect amount for the 49ers in which it's contagious within the whole unit. Everyone is doing their job correctly, and there really is a hard way to say where the 49ers are really weak in at this point. They basically put on a clinic week after week. So
after week, yeah.
It's just going to take that one team to finally give them a hiccup. The Rams kind of did, but the Rams also folded really quick. So moving on to the games I did watch. Jaguars, Bills. It was very evident that the Jaguars know how to prepare for London in comparison to the Bills. The Bills did not arrive in London until Friday night. Once I heard that the Bills did not arrive into London until Friday night, I immediately put 2 units on the Jacksonville Jaguars money line, and I had a field day. It helped me have the rest of the day of fun. So Jacksonville, thank you for that. Obviously, they know how to handle going to London. Bills, you cannot go to London on Friday night. I don't know who okayed that. You could tell through really 3 quarters the Bills were not there.
No.
They were getting banged up left and right. You could tell they were not warmed up, prepared, whatever you have to say. They did not get going until the very end. And at that point, Jacksonville had already found their groove, and there was no coming back because they could do no wrong at that point. And ETN, I've been saying, ETN's been one of the only bright spots on the offense during this little rut they were in. ETN just beat them up. Just constant running at them. So Jacksonville, that was a clinic on how to restart a season. Go into London, put all your eggs in the basket of fixing it. They figured out how to fix it. I would say they won 2 close games, but not really. I mean, you watch this game, the Bills were always just trying to play catch up. Jacksonville pretty much had it in the bag. And against Falcons, it was never a really close game. I just think Jacksonville found a way to strangle the little bit of life they had left in their opponents, which was pretty good on their part. Jacksonville's going to go home I think it's home to the Colts. I don't know if it's home, but they're playing the Colts next week, which they will be facing Gardner Minshew, I believe. So, yeah, we'll see what Gardner Minshew has for his old team. Maybe it's a little bit of, like we said earlier, animosity that he wants to get revenge, but I don't know if Gardner Minshew has enough to take down this Jacksonville offense that looks really good.
Really quick, how did Von Miller look in his first game back? I know he was on a pitch count, but I guess when he was on the field, what did you see? Did he flash?
I didn't really notice him. I can't lie to you. I forget his Epinoza. I do scroll down there and look at the defensive for the Bills. I think it was like Epinoza. He was flashy. He looked really great. Micah Hyde looked really good. Number 21, I think that's Pryor or Poyer. He had
Jordan Poyer, yeah.
He had some idiotic moves that basically helped 2 Jacksonville drives continue. They got banged up though. I mean, if we look back at that Bills game, they lost a lot of players on defense, at least. So be looking out in the future to see how their defense looks in the coming weeks because they lost a lot of guys in that game. It wasn't pretty. Dolphins, Giants. I watched a little bit of this game. I was sweating that Tyreek Hill money line. Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown. Dolphins cover the spread. I didn't really bet on the spread, but that's good to see that the Dolphins can cover big spreads like that against the Giants. The Giants only scored 1 touchdown, and that was a defensive touchdown. That's the only touchdown they've had in the first half. So it wasn't even by the offense.
That's pitiful.
that's kind of why I've been hearing rumors that the Giants are now the worst team in the NFL instead of Carolina. I don't believe that's true, but maybe the fact that they've only scored one touchdown in the first half, and it was defensive. I can kind of see it. At this point, the Dolphins play the Panthers next week. I don't know what the Panthers are going to do. They're going to get their killed. They're going to get creamed. Hopefully, we don't lose as bad as the Broncos at this point, but I can honestly say I'm not going to watch it because Panthers are just really bad. Giants, at this point, you got to figure out what you're going to do. I think Saquon Barkley's supposed to be coming back for the next game. I mean, are you going to put like a juggernaut suit on him or something to make sure he doesn't get hurt? Because otherwise, he's literally the only bit of offense you're going to have, and you're going to use him for everything.
Yep.
And he's just going to get hurt again because you cannot rely on him to do every single thing for you. You got to fend for yourselves a little bit. And Daniel Jones is, I think he got a concussion late in the game. Is he going to be able to make it? I mean, at this point, if I'm Daniel Jones, I don't even want to be behind that offensive line. He physically can't do anything. He doesn't even get a 3-step drop. By the time he's done with his 3-step drop, guys are on top of him.
Yes.
So, it's not even Daniel Jones' fault. He literally physically is not allowed to do anything. So, next game, what faith I had in the Houston Texans. Sorry, I still think the Texans are good.
That was a close game, though.
That was a close game. I think the Texans a little bit did it to themselves, not being able to convert when it mattered. Obviously, the Falcons only got touchdowns. The little bit of ground they did have, but it just buys Desmond Ridder one more week. He looked good, but he didn't look. I mean, he didn't look great, but he looked good. It does say he went through 320 yards or 29 yards, sorry. But a lot of it was like yards after the catch kind of moves, kind of plays. A lot of his guys did a lot of work for him. But at the end of the day, they won a game, and that's all that matters. They did hold the ball more. They did have 2 fumbles. So at the end of the day, it's all on the Texans. You got to convert to touchdowns. C.J. Stroud knows that. He's been converting touchdowns all year, but they just had one game where they just couldn't get in the end zone. That makes sense. They were on the road. Atlanta's a hard place to play in. Yeah. I still think the Texans are a lot better than most people give them credit for, so I'll keep riding that train. Titans, Colts. Colts. Gardner Minshew is still good. I know a lot of people don't give Gardner Minshew his credit, but he doesn't turn the ball over. He basically made sure his guys could make plays. And always put his guys in the right position to make plays. Yep. And at the complete end of the day, it was the Zach Moss show. And I think they were saying something about one of his family members being sick, and he slept on the basement floor with them or something like that. I don't know. It was some little stretch they were talking about in the middle of the game. Someone in his family is sick, and he slept on the floor last night, right next to them. So, I mean, honestly, that might have been what needed to happen for him, because Jonathan Taylor just signed that big, great, fat deal, and now we're looking at it in the closed lens so Jonathan Taylor really, really that good? Or it's just this O-line just really good, just really good at running the ball. So
we'll have to see, yeah.
Yeah, but Zach Moss absolutely cooked. Absolutely great game by him. I don't even think the Titans did anything wrong the whole game. If there was anything they did wrong, it's the same thing the Texans. You got to score touchdowns. You can't just score field goals. Like I said, both teams did great with the ball. Both teams held the ball. Both defenses came with clutch when it mattered. Titans, though, Jeffrey Simmons getting hurt. That's a big break, big back break. Hopefully it's not anything serious or long-term. And then lastly, wrap these games up really quick. Eagles-Rams. I was really into the game in the first half, but halfway through the third quarter, the Rams offense just piddled off. I think unless the Rams can solidify a running game, you're not going to hear much of them in big games anymore at this point.
Nah.
We kind of just know who they are, and that's just passing the ball, hitting guys across the middle on big and hoping for big gains. I mean, other than that, there's just not a whole lot of life to the offense other than just pass. And we consistently see you just cannot. You got to have both. You can't just have a passing game. You got to have a running game. And I just feel like they don't even let the running game have a chance to develop. They just give up on it early and just say, hey, we got one of the best quarterbacks. Let's just keep using him.
Yeah.
Kansas City, again, another game in which I feel like the refs rigged it. You can say what you want, but it was pretty blatant. It was PI down the field.
Yeah.
Didn't get called. And then the best part about it, when the guy was yelling about not getting the PI called, okay, I can see how people would say the ball wasn't catchable. That's fair. That's fine. He still took his helmet off in the middle of the field, in the whole middle of the field. And the ref told him, you could mouth read, put your helmet back on, please. You're not supposed to tell him to put his helmet back on. You're supposed to say, there you go, idiot. You kept the play alive. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
But we got to make sure the Kansas City Chiefs make it to the playoffs with a really good record. You know, we got to make sure this and that. We got to make sure all the Swifties can have fun. Because, you know, that's our whole brand now is Taylor Swift, not even NFL football. And the last game, the game that I paid a lot of attention to, mainly because I wasn't, you know, Rams game kind of fell off. I wasn't really that into it anymore. Jets and the Broncos. I watched a little bit in the first half. Then I watched a lot of it in the second half. The Jets, I mean, dude, I'm sorry. When Zach Wilson gets a little bit of time to throw the ball, he's looking really good. I don't know what they did. In my opinion, it just feels like they let him play a little bit more. Like, I think at this point they basically said, hey, I understand this offense was built for Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, You're not Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
We're not going to try to coach you too hard because it looked like in other games, like they were trying to basically mold him and mimic him to do everything by their play, by their book.
Yeah.
He's just not going to be able to do what you want Aaron Rodgers to do. So at this point, they've just kind of told him, go play ball. And he looks really good when he can throw the ball. When he has time to throw the ball, and the fact that he really works in the play action because he's kind of doing what Aaron Rodgers did, like really good fakes in the play action. I mean, you watch Zach Wilson, he can really fake the play action, which is allowing Breece Hall to be really exceptional. At this point, Dalvin Cook doesn't seem like he's much of a threat anymore because it's all Breece Hall's show. He looks amazing. And then Garrett Wilson makes these timely catches anytime it matters. I will say Garrett Wilson did let him down a little bit on the one interception that Zach Wilson had, but Zach Wilson also could put the ball in a little bit of a better spot. I think maybe if those guys, had, I wouldn't even say a little bit more games of chemistry. I think they just play a little bit more with each other, this coming year, and they get a little bit more in rhythm in games.
Yeah.
That kind of play won't happen because it looked kind of like Wilson just tripped a little bit, and when Zach threw that ball, Wilson tripped a little, and that allowed Surtain to get a little edge on him. But Surtain was pulling down, Wilson's arm as well, so you could have called PI, but for the most part, they were letting them play the whole game. So also hats off, like you let them play, you let the game play out like it was supposed to. And Karma Gods wanted to make sure the Jets won, so that's why Russell Wilson fumbled the ball at the end. And I mean, the one commentator was giving, I guess, critical thinking to the Jets player who ran the ball back for a touchdown. But like, dude, there was 29 seconds left, and he scored a touchdown. And he made the game 10 points. What's the difference between him going all the way on the field and just kneeling, like taking a knee and not scoring those 10 points or 7 points? Or, it doesn't make a difference. The game was unachievable at that point. So let the guy have his touchdown. I'm not saying that as any person who took the Jets defense, though. So I'm just putting that out there.
Nice rundown. I was actually able to watch most of these games as well, except for like any of the games that are blacked out. I'm sorry, I'm not switching back and forth between the channels. I just hope that they come on Red Zone, and I usually have Red Zone in the top right of my little multi-view, so I just hope that they come on Red Zone. And
the Steelers and Ravens game could never come on Red Zone.
Yeah, because they both were playing like some butt cheeks, but Yeah, I'll kind of chime in on some of these games. Obviously, Bears Commanders was a complete shit show. Commanders, we guessed it, right? Halfway guessed it. We said the Commanders should win, but knowing Ron Rivera and just past teams, he always plays down a competition, and that's what they did, and that gave the Bears confidence, and they already had confidence coming into this week because Justin Fields looked pretty good last week. So you just, like I said last episode, I was like, hey, if you give this man some confidence, he's gonna light you up. And what had happened? He lit you up. DJ Moore and him lit you up. So I think that's a lot of people want to blame Ron, but I feel like, and you and Tevin, I saw Tevin this weekend. You guys said it perfectly. I think they laid it all on the line trying to beat the Eagles. The short turnaround just kind of caught up to them, and they just didn't have any gas left in the tank. I mean, it's hard to play like an OT game, and you will bust an ass, and you lose, and you probably had a chance to win, and you have 3 or 4 days until the next game, and then you just have this big hype around beating the Bears, and
it played in the Bears' favor because Dick Butkus sadly passed away.
Yeah.
So they had a whole lot to play for because Bears Nation, basically, they needed something.
Bears Nation.
And, for the Bears, dude, no one even... I'm pretty sure on the Pick'em app for ESPN, Washington was a 90% favorite. They were 90% picked. The only games that had more picks on them was the Dolphins and the Lions. So, no one's thinking you're going to win if you're the Bears. So, you're going to go out there and, dude, what do I have to lose?
Nothing.
And I don't even know if it's Ron Rivera because, I'm pretty sure
it's not.
They
it's
said
the players.
Jack Del Rio is the defensive play caller.
Yeah.
So it's Jack Del Rio is the one who completely let him down. And I was talking to one of my coworkers, and I'm pretty confident it's Sweat. I don't know other Commanders players like that, but I'm pretty sure he said it's Sweat. Montez Sweat. I think that's his name.
Yeah. For me, yeah, he comes and goes, and
he tells me all the time. He's like, they just got to trade him because the defense looks better when he's not in than when he is in. I don't watch the Commanders enough, but he's pretty diehard, and when I talk about games with him, he diagnosed pretty well to me, and I'm just gonna take his word for it because I don't watch the Commanders week in and week out, but if he's gonna tell me, and I think he knows football. He's going to tell me, hey, they just got to cut him and, get some draft capital, something. Because someone can use them. Someone can figure out a way to use them.
Yeah. So, sorry if you're a Commanders fan, but that was tough to watch. But if you're a Cincinnati fan, you're pretty glad that you got the win. So, we repping the Jamar Chase jersey. Had a record-breaking performance. Had, 15 catches for, let's look at it, $180, right?
Mm-hmm.
$192. This was a must-win game. Like I said last week, the nail's not in the coffin, but the coffin door is definitely on the coffin, and we're about to nail it shut. And performance by Joey B and Jamar, and even Joe Mixon, because he was cooking as well. And the defense was cooking as well. This performance, this game right here, definitely, the lid is off the coffin. And we will hop out the coffin next week when we beat Seattle. But overall takeaways from this game really quickly. Joe Burrow definitely looks a lot better than the past couple weeks. He had a couple scrambles, had a couple rollouts, had some play action, saw some different formations for the first time all season. It wasn't just all shotgun. We had a little pistol, had a little single back here and there, had a little different formations for Jamar, either if Jamar's in the backfield with him or he's in motion or he's in the slot, just moving him around, making it difficult to keep an eye on him. Just things that as a fan base we've been kind of asking for Zach Taylor, and for whatever reason he was just slow to react, and he finally made the changes that everyone was telling him to, and so shout out to Zach Taylor. Cardinals, they play tough every game. We've seen this thus far. They beat them boys real bad. And they've been in close games with all the other teams. The first game against the Commanders, it was close, and a couple other close games. So it's a team that Cincinnati should beat, but it's definitely a trap game in the sense that if you lose this game, you're in a 1-4 trap, 1-4 hole, and it's not going to be. It's not impossible to dig out of, but it would have been damn near. So it was a good game. If you had Bengals fans out there watched. Other games I watched, I didn't watch the Jags and Bills. I was at work, but I got back in time to watch everything else. Panthers Lions first half I watched, but it was pretty obvious that Bryce Young running for his life every single play. It's just not working for the Panthers, and I'm sorry, but you guys are trying to trade for number one. I think you need to keep your draft capital because offensive line is just atrocious, and I think that needs to be addressed before you can get any type of receivers. But
I mean, I have a Jeremy Chin jersey. I'm a big Jeremy Chin fan. They only played him 18 snaps. At this point,
lineman?
He's technically listed as a safety now, but under the Matt Rule era, they were using him as a linebacker, like an outside linebacker, but he's more like a safety. But in my opinion, I think he fits the mold perfectly to be like a small inside linebacker.
Okay.
But they don't use him. And at this point, he's just going to walk in free agent and you're going to get nothing for him. So you might as well trade him to someone who can use him and get something. You can get a third-round pick for him.
Yeah. So I kind of cut this game, or I think I still had it in the multi-view, but honestly, I wasn't paying too much attention to it. Same with this game, Colts and Titans. It was more or less just like the Ravens Steelers. There wasn't too much going on. I mean, there's a lot of plays here and there, but nothing to keep my attention. Giants Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, Giants are ass. We already know that. Dolphins. Yeah, it's good they cover the spread, but I feel like they should have really put up some more points. I feel like, I don't know, they kind of toy their food a lot, and it might just come to bite them in the ass when they actually play like a decent team who can probably, come back from like a bad first half. So we'll see moving into the future how, Miami continues to play. And like pretty much the rest of these games, like Saints, Patriots, I didn't watch. Steelers, I definitely didn't watch. Eagles, Rams was interesting. Rams had a great first half. I thought they would give the Eagles a run for their money. But, without a running game, they're pretty predictable. So in the second half, Eagles just made some easy adjustments and kind of just shut down the offense and just kind of ran away with it from there. So kind of controlled that second half. So Rams, if you want to actually make the playoffs and you have a decent chance to, because your roster is actually decent, I suggest trying to trade for a running back. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was out there. Now he has to, sign his 3-year extension. So maybe scour the league and try to snatch a running back before the trade deadline, because you were kind of looked decent with Cam Akers, but, he got traded away. So I think they need a solid replacement. And then last game I'll go over, Jets Broncos. I'm sorry, Broncos country, you're not riding this week. I think it's Jets. Let's ride the Jet. Zach Wilson, like you said, Lawrence, he looks good when he has time, and for whatever reason, the offensive line has looked good in back-to-back weeks. So I don't know what's happening with the offensive line. Maybe the chemistry is coming together. Maybe they're, just. I don't know. I honestly don't know, because the Jets, that was the biggest question mark, was the offensive line. In the first couple of games, they looked atrocious, and Breece Hall comes back and they start blocking really well and giving Zach Wilson time, and Zach Wilson's not the fastest processor, so if he has actually time, he can process stuff and make good reads, and if he doesn't like what he sees, he's scrambling. So yeah, I'm kind of still on the fence about them making the playoffs. I feel like if the offensive line can still, play like this, then they have a shot. But then again, they probably won't play another bad defense like the Broncos. And Sean Payton should be ashamed of himself, because that defense is atrocious. The Jets scored 31 points on them. That's a damn shame. And Russ, I'm still seeing flashes. I need to see a whole game of old Russ. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to see that this season. So you guys just might have to be content with just seeing a flash here and there, because I don't know if he has old Russ even with Sean Payton as his head coach, I don't think he can have a whole game of old rust. I don't think that's possible. And we've had a 5-game sample size, and I think I've seen enough in that department. So that's pretty much my breakdown of Sunday. Anything you want to add, Lawrence, before we move on?
No, not really. I mean, I don't think no one's gonna hear it before it comes out, obviously, but I'll be interested to know what people are thinking about tonight's game.
Yeah.
My gut is really telling me the Raiders are gonna somehow win. With Josh McDaniels as coach, which is really, really hard to ever want to bet or go with them. So I'm kind of leaving it up in the air. So far in our pick'em league, I still haven't placed it yet. I have it going back and forth. At this point, I'm like kind of far down. I'm like not too far down, but like I think I'm like 4 points back in our league, and
yeah,
like if I can just come one back, I don't think anyone's gonna pick the Raiders, so I might be able to sneak one in there. But the Raiders,
it's tough.
We're gonna need a Jimmy G clinic tonight.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see if Devontae plays. I know he was questionable. I think he is going to play.
He's listed in, and Aaron Jones is listed out.
Okay, so we'll see. I mean, Devontae should have a big game against his former team, but I don't know. It's all up in the air, like you said. Moving on, guys. When we come back, we will hop into some NBA previewing the Southeast and the Southwest division. We're going to talk about some NBA. I know we are very much in the midst of NFL season. A lot of exciting games have happened thus far, but NBA has gotten underway. We will have a basketball game pretty much every single day until June of next year. So exciting times. There was some preseason games this weekend. There's some on tonight. I think Wemby and Chet are going to meet each other for the first time. Should be on NBA TV, but of course you guys are going to see this tomorrow. But should be a good game. But we're going to break down or preview the NBA by divisions. We're going to pick one Eastern Conference and one Western Conference division. And hopefully in the next couple episodes, we can get this knocked out before the season starts in 2 weeks on the 24th, I believe. So we'll get this knocked out before the season starts so you guys can, I don't know if you're in a fantasy league or if you're planning on betting like I am and stacking your bankroll like I am, you can know what to look out for. But anyway, starting with the East, we will start in the Southeastern Conference. Let me pull up. And then you guys can see right here, the Southeast, we have the Hawks, Hornets, Miami, Orlando Magic, and our hometown team, the Washington Wizards. Let's start at the top with the Atlanta Hawks. Lawrence, what are your first thoughts of the Hawks going into this season?
I mean, looking at the roster, it doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, what to say on it? I just think paying Trae Young $40 million is a little rough. Especially what liabilities lay ahead with having him. And then on the flip side of that, like him and DeJounte Murray right next to each other, basically with that double small ball. It kind of reminds you of the old Portland Trailblazers. So like neither one of them are the best defender. DeAndre Hunter's making a lot of money. He doesn't play in a whole lot of games. So with the Hawks, I guess the best thing to say about them is their depth isn't horrible. But overall, I don't think their team is amazing. I think they're one of those teams that either is outside looking in just barely or fighting for the play-in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they will look better than last year. I think, they finally thank God that they finally got rid of John Collins. He was just a big contract that did not fit on that team. So they got rid of him, shipped him out. Clint Capella should be the next piece to go because Kongwu is a decent backup center, probably could start on a lot of teams. So don't be surprised if Clint Capella gets moved at some point this season. But the rest of the roster looks okay. I mean, like, we still, they gave Murray an extension. Trae Young has a supermax extension. So a lot of money into those two guys. I think even Hunter has an rookie max extension. And Bogdanovich got an extension. So a lot of money put into this team. We'll see how they go. Don't be surprised if a couple of these guys get shipped off, because if they somehow have a repeat of last season where they kind of look a lot of just mid halfway through the season, there's a good chance the front office ships some of these guys out, starting with Capella and then probably Hunter. So I'll just watch out for that. But I definitely have them in the play-in. I think another year of I think his name is Snyder. The old Jazz coach is their coach now. So I think with a full training camp instead of just coming in halfway through the year, I think he will have them playing right. And I think Trae Young should have I think he should have a good year. I know last year he didn't shoot well, but I think you're going to see another year from Trae where he's going to be about 28 points, about 10 assists a game, and his 3-point per shooting should go up. He should shoot around 37 to 38, hopefully, but yeah, we'll see. Moving on, though, Charlotte Hornets.
Looking at the Hornets, I don't think the Hornets are going to be horrible this year. That's just my opinion. I think LaMelo coming back off injury, I think it's going to be kind of big.
Okay.
I like Leaky Black. I thought he was really good when he played at North Carolina. And now he's basically staying in North Carolina for the Charlottes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a way in which you can figure out a way to move off Terry Rozier or Gordon Hayward. Just find some sucker to just give up the contract. Hopefully find a bad team throughout the season to take that money and give you something back for it. Because I think it'd be important to kind of have Leaky Black move up to the starting unit or give him more minutes behind a Cody Martin behind the starting unit. I see this thing has PJ Washington listed as the backup power forward to Brandon Miller. I'm pretty confident PJ Washington's probably going to run small center.
Yeah, in a lot of lineups, yeah.
So I don't see that one being that way. I mean, overall, I don't think the team is going to be. I just don't want to say. I don't think they're going to be horrible, but I don't think they're making the play-in into the playoffs. I think Charlotte will be the team to. They're just going to look bad most nights, and then they're going to beat teams. They're going to be like, dude, why are you losing to Charlotte on other nights?
Yeah, I agree. I'm expecting the same. They're not a play-in team. They will probably be close. They'll probably hang out in 11 or 12. But I don't think they're going to make the play-in. Even in the East, it's kind of more or less the same as last year. But I feel like in terms of in-season tournament that starts in November, I feel like we could see a run from them. I feel like they are one of the young teams that will go to a hot start in the beginning of the season, and they probably will play well in their in-season tournament games. They don't have really any vets, so they don't have to worry about the new, load management rule. So some of these teams might have to play around with that load management rule, and I think the Hornets will catch a couple of those teams during those qualifying games or whatever. And hey, we might see them in a tournament, and they might make a run, and who knows, they might make some noise. So that's what I would expect from them.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. Yep.
Moving on, we have the Heatles, Miami Heat, coming off the NBA Finals appearance. We all know Dame ended up in Milwaukee, and then second, Drew Holiday also went to Boston. So the two teams that they beat have improved. Miami has not, in terms of really any major signings or trades. Lawrence, I'll let you have the first dab at this. What are your expectations for Miami?
I guess my expectation. Well, I guess I wouldn't say my confusion with Miami is I'm looking at him and he's on this thing. I can't read on yours, but on this thing he's listed as small forward.
Who's that?
Hawkes. On this the Hoops Hype I'm looking at for the roster.
Okay.
I remember him playing point guard, small forward, but mostly point guard at UCLA, which I thought you guys were probably going to run him at point guard, so that way you don't have to start with Lowry every game, and you're going to let Lowry be kind of the sixth man again. But maybe you're going to start Lowry again at starting point guard. I don't know. I just think Lowry is better off as a sixth man to keep yourself some points off the when the main group isn't on the court, because he can just drive it and pass it back to Duncan Robinson, so you can have them as like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like Lowry doesn't really need to be, I guess, dominant offensively or anything in the first unit, because Hero, Butler, Love, Adebayo, there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of guys who can get points. It's kind of better just put a rookie guy in there who likes to play defense and distribute ball, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see how the starting lineup goes as far as who starts the first game, but yeah, on ESPN, Lowry's listed as the starter. I know some of the reporters keep asking, Lowry, and then they'll ask Spo, like, who's going to start. Lowry thinks he should start. Spo is, kind of dismissing the question, kind of like hinting at he's going to try different lineups to see what works and what doesn't. I honestly would like Hero to start at point guard, and then so we can move Josh Richardson into the starting lineup, and then have like Hero, Richardson, Jimmy, either K-Love or honestly, Caleb Martin should start, but I could definitely see him being the sixth man for this team, and then Bam. But I think for Miami, their biggest thing is they need a lot of growth from within, because obviously we didn't make any big signings besides keeping K-Love and getting Thomas Bryant and bringing back Jay Richardson. So we need to see a lot of Jovic. He looked good over in Serbia. Pretty much led Serbia to the silver medal.
Silver medal.
Yeah, silver medal. Played really well in the FIBA World Cup. So yeah, looking to see big things from him. He's definitely gonna play big minutes. Wouldn't be surprised if he's the sixth man, or if Caleb plays well to start, he's probably gonna get starting minutes, and then Jovic is probably the sixth man, and then Hawkes, I'm expecting a decent. I'm expecting rookie of the year considerations. It'll probably be between Chet and Wemby, but he'll definitely get some consideration because he's played all 4 years. He's a pretty complete player. He can distribute, can play defense. He's pretty athletic. He has size. That's all things Miami likes. So he's definitely gonna get a lot of playing time. And then definitely I expect big things from Thomas Bryant. It's gonna be a bounce back year because he didn't really play a lot for the Lakers once Anthony Davis got back. And then on the Nuggets, he pretty much didn't play at all. They preferred Christian Braun and Jeff Green to play over him. So expect him to kind of play out this one year contract, try to get some big bucks for the next season. So I expect a bounce back year from him because he's going to get plenty of backup center minutes. And then I expect a big leap from Tyler Hero. He wants to average 25 points per game. He's going to average 25 a game. So expect him to average about 25, 26 points, about 5 assists, and he'll probably grab about 4 or 5 rebounds. So he'll have a nice stat line this year. And then as far as playoffs, we're a top 4 seed if everything goes right, but I think the two juggernauts at the top, as long as they're healthy, they definitely going to run the conference. And unless we make a sizable trade for, God forbid, Harden, or if I don't know, Cavs go to a bad start and they decide to blow the team up early, if we can land Donovan Mitchell, maybe we have a chance then. But I don't really foresee that happening. Moving on, the Magic. Lawrence, what are your first takes about the Magic this season?
My take on the Magic is I hope they do really good. I mean, other than that, I mean, hopefully they can make something happen. Um, in all reality, you're looking at the Magic and you're saying, "Come on, you gotta make the play-in." I don't think you go higher than the play-in, but you gotta be around the play-in.
Yeah.
You got enough talent to try to make a move. Orlando is also one of those teams that we were just talking about with the Hornets to make a scary little nod at the beginning of the season in the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no reason not to. And they're also a bunch of young guys who might take advantage of the fact of that. Maybe this is the year Jonathan Isaac's not glass and they actually use it. He can get used, but
yeah.
I mean, outside of that, this is just one of those teams. Come on. I know you're not an amazing team, but I know you're also not a horrible team, and you've always showed some kind of possibilities in the last couple seasons, just here and there, maybes, and give the fans something to I guess maybe keep rooting for, especially with Paulo still on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
You got a lot of money, so. Dude, I mean, there's going to be teams that are halfway through the season, kind of like Orlando Magic in this way again with the in-season tournament. You make a big move, you get the fans excited, and then right before the trade deadline, you move for a good big piece. You just bring a big piece in. Don't know who that is, don't know where that is, just a big piece. Whether that's kind of I don't know how much a Gary Harris shooting guard starter is, going for, but maybe you get something a little better. I don't know, but trying to get a big piece. Someone's on a bad team. They want out. If you're Orlando, come on, dude, you got money. If you do really good in the in-season tournament, your fans are really excited. They need something to watch. You got to get fans in the stadium. It's kind of an easy win because they're not going to hate you for it. And if it blows up in your face, they're still not going to hate you for it because at least you tried.
Yeah, I agree. The roster, to your point, is I would say the roster is better than the Hornets, so they should be in contention for the play-in spot, like that 10 spot. They should be in contention for. I expect it to happen. Now, will they slide into the playoffs? I don't think so, but could I see them winning the first play-in game? Of course, if OKC did it last year, I think the Magic with this roster can, especially if they make some improvements. Like you said, they have the cap space. They have the contracts to kind of add up, and they have guys who they've been exploring the trade. So, if you're a Magic fan, you definitely should be excited for this year because you're going to make noise in the play-in, and you should make noise or in the play-in, and you should make noise in the in-season tournament as well because they're another team who can definitely catch some of these older teams off guard in November. And if everything goes right, they should, slide into that in-season tournament, and then anything can happen there. Moving on, I think the last team in this division, the hometown Wiz. Lawrence, what is your, I guess, opinion on the Wizards? And they've definitely made some moves this offseason, so.
Like I said, for some of the other teams, I think the Wizards would be kind of bad. Well, not for the reason why I mean, do you want
let's hear
my real gut opinion?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I think the Wizards I think they easily make the play-in. I mean, in my opinion. So you have Tyus Jones. He's going to be playing for a contract.
Yep.
He's going to want to get paid from someone somewhere, and he's always looked good in the backup role for the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's going to want money. I mean, it has DeLon Wright on here. I thought he was getting traded, so I don't know about that. But same with Shamet and Gallinari. I bet you Shamet doesn't leave, but he might. I don't know. But I thought Gallinari and DeLon Wright were going to get moved. I mean, if they don't, regardless, I feel like that's kind of a win for Gallinari, though, if he stays. Because he's going to be – you're coming off an injury. If this team isn't good and you play really good on it as a 6-man or 7th-man kind of role, somebody will trade for you at the deadline. But regardless, there's a lot of guys on here who have a lot to prove in order to get kind of big contracts. Because I think Gafford is kind of wants a new deal. I don't know if he's going to want more money, but he's going to want a solidified role either here or somewhere. So he might play hard. You look at Avdia. I'm pretty sure this is his contract year, or is it 1 year out?
Denny? Yeah, Denny is his contract year, I'm pretty sure.
So he's going to try to play hard in order to get some money. Like I said, Gallinari's there. That's just free points off the bench. Mike Muscala's never been horrible, but he's never been great. But, he's here. There's just a lot of people that are on the roster. And then you have people who are getting paid. And I think that's what it mainly comes down to. Like Kuzma, he basically re-signed with the team. He is the team. Jordan Poole, we brought him in to be the guy. He finally gets a chance to be the guy. So hopefully Jordan Poole uses that as I have the chance to be the guy. I will be the guy. Kyle Kuzma uses it dude, this is my team. I gotta run it. I gotta manage it. I've gotta be the man for this team. Tyus Jones is looking at it okay, I want money. This team might be bad, but if I'm really good on it, somebody's gonna pay me money because I have a whole line of work. I've proven on a resume that I'm good. Denny Avdia, I've been here and there. I haven't been great. I haven't been horrible. I have a chance to prove that I'm pretty good. And then Gafford, he's never been a slouch. He's always been just, there. But he's always been useful. More so on the defensive side. And pretty much that's kind of what you need on this team is someone to just play defense for him. I'm pretty sure that's why Wright is still here because he likes to play a little bit of defense, and that's why they need him. But there's just a lot of guys on here who either want money or just got money. And the guys who just got money really need to prove who they are. That's why I kind of feel like they should make the playoffs, either through the play-in or just as that sleeper team that no one thought. And it's just wow. And it's mainly just because people want to get paid.
Yeah, I agree. They're not as bad as what people are making them out to be. They have a lot of young talent mixed in with some veterans like, Gallinari, Gibson, Shamit, Wright. They have the perfect mix of, young guys to vets and vets who can still contribute and, rookie or not rookies, but just young players who want to, make a name for themselves. So I think it's the right blend and it should be the start of, just a play-in team. And then in a couple years, they'll move their way up in the East. But, I think you're right. Tyus Jones will look good as a starter. He will get paid from somebody, whether that's the Wizards or if there's some sort of trade near the trade deadline. This man will get paid. He will play very well for the Wizards. And, this is the Poole party and the Kuzma show. Those two have to be the engines of this team. They have to, play in sync and lead this team because if they don't play well, then this team will do the opposite of what we're saying. They will look horrible. So expect big years from both of them. They both will average about, Kuzma will probably average his 20, but I definitely can see Poole averaging 20, anywhere from 25 to 28 for a decent amount of assists. And then look for guys like Denny to have big years because they want to get paid. So Denny, Wright's probably going to want to get paid by somebody. Gallinari's probably going to want another contract. And then your young guys like your rookie Koulibaly, who was Wemby's teammate in France. Look for him to make some timely contributions. Offense isn't there yet, but on defense, he's lanky. He can, strap guys up. He's definitely going to be utilized very well. And Johnny Davis and Kesper, I feel like this is the year where they have to break through or they will get traded along with some of these other young guys. But those two in particular, because they've been here for a couple of years and we just haven't seen the type of things that we want to see in terms of growth from young players. So we'll see what happens with them, but Wizards should definitely be a play-in team. And I'm expecting a lot out of them. I'll see how they look firsthand tomorrow. They play some Australian National Basketball League team, and I will be in attendance tomorrow, so I will let you guys know firsthand how they look. So stay tuned for that. But moving on to the West, we got the Dallas Mavericks, first team up in the Southwest Division. Lawrence, what is your first impressions of the Dallas?
I mean, any impression we have on the Dallas Mavericks, if we're going to be looking at it so far this season through preseason,
Not good.
They've been looking really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because they're way too top heavy. There is no depth on this team. I mean, you're going to have to ask Markieff Morris. You're going to have to ask a lot of him. Which at this point, isn't Markieff Morris like old, like late 30s at this point?
Yeah, him and his brother are old.
So, in reality, you have all your money tied into two guys, and it's not really dispersed anywhere else. I mean, I guess it's dispersed a little bit into Tim Hardaway Jr. Does that man really ever suit up half the time anymore? No, not really. Nope. It's one of those guys who's always hurt. Why'd you pay him? We don't know. But we have to live with our consequences after the fact. Then you got Dwight Powell. For what he's making, no problem with it. $4 million, that's no problem. But Maxi Kleber, right behind him, making $11 million for a backup center who is, I guess he's good at making threes, but other than that, he doesn't do anything else for the team. You could arguably say that Dallas just repeats what they did last year and is a borderline play-in team, or missing it altogether. And then you're going to really have to be begging Luka to stay. Even if it's begging Luka to stay, maybe it's begging Kyrie to come back. Because Kyrie might be like, hey, thought I was coming to a winner, guys. And you guys aren't winning.
You guys suck. Yeah, I'm on the same fence. I can't tell you guys where I think they will end up because the West is really stacked, especially with Beal going to the West and the Lakers retooling and all the stuff that's happened this offseason. So I can't definitively tell you what seeding they will be at, but they will definitely at least make the play-in. They are better than last year. They added Grant Williams, who brings that 3-and-D, which they really needed. Then they have the two rookies, Derek Lively, the second, and Olivier Prosper. He did not look good. I think he had like a single point in the first game. He looks lost, to be honest. I don't think he should start. You should probably start Josh Green, which would be the sensible thing to do. But for whatever reason, Jason Kidd always has one player on his team who he just like absolutely hates for whatever reason and doesn't give them sufficient playing time. And I feel like for Josh Green, someone that you invested a lot of time and resources into, you should start him to see if you want to pay him and see if, do I pay him or do I try to move him? And I feel like they're going about this the wrong way. He definitely should start and then just have Grant Williams play the 4. But I digress. Then you also have like Jaden Hardy, like he needs minutes too, and you need to play Tim Hardaway too because you need to see if he's able to stay healthy, or do you need to move him? Like I don't know, J Kidd and that front office definitely has a lot to kind of manage this season, but and so far in the preseason they have looked horrible. So more to say about them. So stay tuned, but we will talk about the Rockets next. They made a lot of transactions in the offseason too. So, Lawrence, what are your expectations?
Well, first off, I feel for the Rockets because, they just had to yeet a guy off their team. And that was kind of one of those, developing pieces they were going to maybe hope on this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's never good to beat someone to almost to a pulp. Especially if it's mama of your kids. Like, we shouldn't beat her to a pulp in the middle of a hotel or a hotel hallway, whatever you did it in. I can't remember, but this is like another one of those teams that they just have a lot of young talent, and I feel like this team could sneakily be good because I don't know if Dylan Brooks will bring that like it factor. But like he can bring that like underdog mentality in which a lot of younger guys may respond to well. And then they already have guys who are pretty good. They were just young, and they just need a little bit more of a chance. So I can easily feel the Houston Rockets beating teams. that they shouldn't beat. But as in terms of making the playoffs, questionable, more likely, more so in like a play-in way. And that's also looking at the fact, like, I can easily see the Houston Rockets possibly doing better than Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, hot take. I don't know about that, but I could see them being like an OKC last year where they make the play in and they beat somebody in the first game. But I mean, they have a lot of holes in their roster, but I mean, the roster looks good on paper, but I feel like I don't know if Ime can turn this team around in 1 year and have them, not like a contender in the West, but like as far as like making a playoff push, I don't know about that. They're still really young, even with some of these vets. So we'll see, but I definitely expect a different team because they do have Fred now, and they do have Dylan Brooks. They do have Reggie Bullock, so they have vets on the team that can keep these young guys in check and kind of keep the kind of build some culture because that's the one thing they were lacking. Hence, the reason why guys like Kevin Porter were on the team when they probably shouldn't have been, and Jabari Smith probably not performing as good as he should have. So we should see improvement from Jabari Smith and Jalen Green, and Amen Thompson should definitely improve, or he should look good as a rookie, especially playing behind Fred. So that's probably a good situation for him. But play-in is probably where I have them. Moving on, Memphis Grizzlies. Ja is suspended for the first 25 games.
Yeah.
And Marcus Smart is hurt. So with all that being said, Lawrence, what are you expecting from the Grizz?
I think the Grizz are probably fifth seed.
Ooh.
I just say fifth. I think
a little decline.
I think they win enough games while everyone's hurt, and they just have to make up for it when everyone comes back. I pretty much believe that the weight of this team will be on the shoulders of Xavier Tillman and Brandon Clark. Because at this point, we never see Steven Adams have a whole season.
Yeah.
So we just kind of know that's what's going to happen coming into the season. He's just not going to be able to play a full season. In terms of their small forward position, it's a little lack of desire, but maybe that's they want it that way because they have to pay other guys in other places a lot more money. Like Desmond Bain, Luke Kennard. I think Derrick Rose is a good leadership piece, but in terms of actual minutes he'll get, probably not much.
Yeah.
I just feel like this team is really good at what they do, but then in terms of depth, I think this is going to be really important key piece is at the beginning of the season, while their big pieces are gone, aka Marcus Smart and Ja, how good do you basically float above water? How long can you tread? Those kind of things. Looking at this team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Before Marcus Smart got hurt, I was thinking, okay, they'll probably still be in the same range. Like, I think, they played well without Ja in the past. So, Marcus Smart coming in and being a defensive-minded point guard who can distribute the ball a little bit, they should be fine. They'll probably be in the 2 to 3 range, but yeah, I'm right there with you. They're going to be in that 5 to 6 range. Like, they still have enough talent where they can compete any night, and they definitely will compete. But not having Smart to start the season most likely is a little troubling. And then just looking at some of the I didn't look at the depth chart before, but looking at some of these players, once you get past the starting lineup, you have Rose and Kennard, who's really just a specialist, and Tillman, he's good, but if Adams goes down, it's kind of not really he's a solid backup. That's all I'm trying to say. And then Zaire Williams and Brandon Clark and all that stuff. They just can't afford any more injuries, and if injuries will happen during the season, so I don't know. It's going to be tough for them to bounce back, especially without Ja, and they might have a rough start, and they might have some catching up to do. So I agree with you right there. But 5 to 6 range is what I would put my money on. Moving on, 2 more teams. Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans. Zion looks healthy. He is windmilling like crazy as usual. I think it's the first year of his Supermax deal. So Lawrence, what are your expectations for the Pelicans?
You look at the team and you automatically say to yourself, you got to finish in like the top 4.
Oh,
I mean, you got to look at it this way. Like, you don't have to worry. You don't really have to worry about Memphis at the beginning of the year. So you get some time to get a little bit of an edge on them.
Yeah.
Dallas doesn't look all that hot. There's a lot of teams that are really, I guess, vulnerable at the beginning of the season in which you can easily take advantage of. You got CJ. As long as this is all that matters. If Zion stays healthy, we saw when he was healthy, they were basically hanging around the second seed.
Yeah.
So Zion stays healthy, or just plays 3/4 of the season. Especially with Valanciunas, because like, dude, if you have Valanciunas with you, you don't even have to play hard-nosed rebounding basketball. Valanciunas is going to do that for you.
And then just grab them all.
and right behind him, Cody Zeller. Dude, that's all Cody Zeller is good for is rebounds. He's not going to score points. He's not even going to get a lot of blocks. He's just going to get rebounds.
Yep.
So Zion, don't even worry about rebounds. You just get your points. You play really mean and gritty. You got a nice little backup behind you in Larry Nance Jr., who's pretty much the opposite of what you are. So people have to game plan differently for when you guys exchange in and out. And basically the rest of the team, you got a gritty, hard-nosed point guard and Jose Alvarado right behind CJ McCollum, who can slack off in defense per se sometimes. Herb Jones might be a little overpaid at $12 million, but he kind of fits his role here really well. So we just shrug our shoulders and say, as long as we're in the top 4, who cares what we paid Herb Jones? We made it where we thought we could be with the money that we spent. So I think if you're in New Orleans, you have to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, I agree. They have all the makings to be a definitely a contender in the West. Definitely can see them, honestly, in the Western Conference Finals if Zion can stay healthy. But that's a big question, right? Like last year when he was healthy, they were kind of flirting with the number 1 seed. Back and forth between first and second. And then as soon as he goes out, it feels like the engine of the train just breaks. Like they don't have any gusto. They don't have any like fire, any momentum. So he needs to stay healthy for his team to succeed. And then we should see some improvements from BI. He played in the FIBA World Cup. And, Grand Theft Alvarado should be back from injury. And then you should see an improvement from guys like Trey Murphy, who are kind of playing for, an extension, and Larry Nance, who's, he's getting up there in age, but he's still a solid backup. So we should see some improvements, and they definitely should be a top 4 team. I'm expecting a lot out of these guys. And our last team, the Spurs, winners of the Wembanyama sweepstakes, they play tonight, like I said. Lawrence, what are your expectations for the Spurs?
The Spurs are kind of what we said about a lot of teams. I just think they're going to be one of those teams that's fighting around the play-in.
Wow, the first year of Wemby?
I think last year they could have done a lot better. They just didn't have the time to put pieces together.
Yeah.
Wemby is supposed to be this almighty magical force. Hopefully he can bring an almighty magical force to the team. But I think small additions like, Reggie Bullock, he's been on championship teams before, or I don't know, championship teams. He's been on good teams before. He might bring a little idea of winning to the team. But I think Sochan, whatever his name is, Jeremy, the fact that he's going to get to play beside Wemby, and Wemby's going to take a little bit more of the pressure from him, and as well as he did scoring last season, it should only be made easier.
Yeah.
The only issue I see with this team is point guard. That's kind of really the only place that they're weak at. Small forward, pretty okay. Shooting guard, Like you said, Vassell, he just seems to make it happen in terms of scoring. I think power forward, they're pretty okay. And center, Wemby, you're supposed to bring this team to new heights. I can see them fighting for a play-in. I just feel like maybe this just might be their undoing as the point guard position.
Yeah, Trey Jones, I think he got some money, so maybe that could either be a good or bad thing. It can motivate him to do well, kind of, play up to the money, or, some guys just get their little bag and kind of slack off. So we'll see. They did get Devontae Graham. That's a nice backup point guard option. Vassell just signed his extension, so we should, kind of see the same things from him as we are trying to look for in Trey Jones. And then, the rest of the roster, Keldon Johnson, good player, good young player. Wembanyama, some people are saying he's going to be an all-star his first year. I don't know about all that, but I honestly do expect a lot of big things from Wemby. I'm thinking he averages like 18 and 10. Like, I honestly, he should easily average like 18 and 10. I don't think he's going to put up LeBron rookie numbers, but he definitely should at least get, 18 and 10, if not more. He should honestly should get like probably a block and a half a game as well. And then you got Zach Collins playing the center, so he can kind of play that power forward, kind of don't have to bang with some of those really, nice bigs like Joel or Jokic or even AD or Cat, when Cat plays the 5, like he can kind of just bully a power forward and get some easy buckets and kind of chop it up on the perimeter. So I'm not going play in. I still think they'll be pretty bad, but in-season tournament, they definitely can make some noise, but they probably will be bad again, so they can get another top 5 pick, because this roster does need some improving, and I don't think they have enough firepower besides Wemby, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays, though, and if he gets Rookie of the Year. But yeah, that's all of the divisions that we're going over tonight. No rapid fire for tonight, guys. We already have plenty to talk about. So Lawrence, any last words before we get out of here and watch some Monday Night Football?
Oh man, we already missed kickoff. We kept it going on for you guys. We talked about the NBA. Not my forte. I do NBA for you guys, but
your stuff. Stop downplaying it. You know your stuff.
I know the guys who come in from college. When all these the Wemby stuff. Listen, I barely know any Wemby. I'm going to be waiting to watch him in the play or for the preseason, and that's where I'm going to get my first taste of Wemby. Haven't watched a lick on Wemby, so I'm interested to see how he actually does. I just said I didn't watch a lick. I watched highlights. That doesn't count. I don't really count highlights. I need real time. How do I feel in the real moment?
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm excited for this Wizards preseason game. We'll see how they perform against an Australian basketball team. Hopefully, if they actually play decent, then I'll have some decent hope. But hometown team, we never know what's going to happen with them. So stay tuned for maybe a little breakdown on Wednesday. But other than that, guys, we're going to get up out of here. Thank you for tuning in. It's episode 44 of the MTL Sports Podcast, and we are out. Peace.
Have a good night.
Giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly.